What's going on, everybody? Tyrant here, and it has definitely been far too long since we reviewed a gun on this site, so I'm going to be bringing you something today. The Asia Electronics, or Asia Airsoft P90. And yeah, I've had this gun for quite some time, and I've been waiting to do a review on it, and I kind of put it off for a while. Let's just say busy school term, got a new job, also been waiting on a new camera, and I finally got one. No more of that crappy old digital camera. Finally got a decent working camcorder. So, because of that, I'm bringing you our first review in quite a few months. As I said, the Asia Airsoft P90. This thing is fantastic. That is the simple word I can put along with it. For the price of this gun, and compared to how much you had to spend on P90s in the past, this gun is outstanding. Now, if you saw our KWA LM4 or KWA Vector reviews, you'll know that a friend of mine and I actually won the Airsoft GI mystery box, which included 5 guns. This is one of them. Now, in the beginning, he got 3 guns and I got 2. I got the LM4 and the Vector, and he got this, the Galil, and the shotgun. I believe it's just a standard spring shotgun. It wasn't bad. It was just wasn't that great. Anyways, he wanted those 3. I took those 2. But he and I were actually at a swap meet this summer, and I picked up an Airsoft MP5, and we did a straight up trade. And now I have this. And considering the fact that my first electric gun was actually a Tokyo Marui P90, I was kind of hesitant just because, you know, I hadn't heard of Asia Airsoft, so I wasn't too sure about how their version of the P90 was going to be. I am completely blown away at the quality of this thing. It is unbelievable. I think it completely outshines the Tokyo Marui P90 in just about every single way. For one thing, you do of course have the FN Herstal trades on this thing, along with FN Herstal Belgium. I'm probably mispronouncing that name, I don't care. Now let's just talk about the P90 itself. Like not this specific P90, but just the P90 and who you can recommend it to. I think it is probably one of the best starter guns you can possibly have. For one thing, it is really easy to manage. You have a gun that works great in both right and left hands. It is incredibly lightweight, and the mag release is simple enough. Reloading is fine. The problem I think a lot of people run into with these things is they don't have the customization options you will see on, say, a standard M4 or an MP5. A lot of people like to switch out stocks. They like to put new front ends on their gun, upper receivers, lower receivers, what have you. This gun, you don't get as much of a choice. You can put a top optic on it. You can put lasers, flashlights on the sides if you want. You can put a new barrel on it, and that's kind of where you run into a bit of a stopping point. You can upgrade the internals all you want, but as far as customizing the externals of your gun, that's kind of where it stops. There's, of course, the mod you can put on P90s, which is basically to allow it to take Armalite mags. I think that's kind of stupid myself. I think that kind of takes away from the whole point of having a P90. Now, drawbacks of this gun would be the mags. They are definitely not the most common thing out there. If you have any kind of airsoft community, you'll see a lot of people running around with Armalite mags for sale, G36 mags. Not too many P90 mags. They're kind of hard to come by. And my heater just clicked on, I apologize for that. The other thing is they are incredibly long, if you will notice. So finding pouches for them is kind of a pain in the ass. I managed in the past with using AK pouches, and that's definitely what I would recommend, but it's not perfect. I mean, they're going to be a little loose, jiggling around in there. M4 mag pouches, not a chance. Unless they're like an M4 pouch which can handle like 2 to 3 mags and have a little room to spare, then you might be able to do something with it, especially if it's a Velcro pouch. But these cumbersome guys are so big that when I first started Airsoft, I had 3 of them, and running with all 3 was a really big chore. I had 1 in the gun and 2 in each pockets, and they did not like to stay in those pockets. So, keep that in mind. If you want to get a P90, make sure you know what you're doing with your mags. That being said, this specific P90 actually comes with a high cap mag. Now, this is not your standard high cap. This is not something that you fill it with BBs and just constantly throughout the day you got to keep winding it. No, if you do it right, you can actually wind this thing once and be fine for the entire game. Now, how it works is, yes, I know I'm doing this a lot, but I gotta admit, it is kind of fun. One more time. Okay, enough of that. So, the way this one works is you've got an open spot there and a spring that you draw back, and then you've got access to that hole in the mag right there. You fill that full of BBs, you let them all fall down, and then you release that, and it stops about right there and closes them in. Couldn't be simpler. Now, once you've got BBs in the mag, you've got a little wind-up thingy there, and you just keep twisting that and twisting it and twisting it and twisting it over and over and over again. And the more you twist it, the more BBs you're going to be able to get off before you need to twist it again. Now, previous owner of this gun, my friend, claims that he got through an entire mag without needing to twist it once. So, if you wind this thing up enough, you can empty 300 rounds downrange through this gun and not need to take it out and wind it. But that is definitely a drawback. If you're in the middle of a fight and you still have BBs in this thing, but it runs dry, you have to take it out, wind it, and smack it back in. It's not terrible. It's not nearly as bad as, say, needing to change out the mag, or excuse me, the box mag on a heavy machine gun, but it's still pretty bad. Now, if you get standards for this thing, that's not even an issue. And standards for the P90 hold a ton of ammo, and that is a really, really nice feature. Other things I love about this P90 is just the fact that it actually feels a lot more durable than the Tokyo Mari one did. I don't know what exactly it was about the Tokyo Mari gun. It's just a lot of the materials felt a little bit flimsier, and I think that was actually just kind of the case of the Tokyo Mari guns back in the days. I recall getting my hands on a few Tokyo Mari M16s, and the entire gun just wobbled right in the center. Same thing with G3 SG1s, not only did they wobble in the center, but just the entire gun itself creaked. This thing does not creak nearly as much. It does creak a little bit in the back where there's a lot of open space, but it's not too bad. Another thing I absolutely love about P90s, and I'm not sure why this is, but I love disassembling them. They're a lot of fun. Basically, if you want to strip this gun down, you take the mag out, and you've got a little button to push right there. Push it on that, and there's the top half of your gun. And you immediately have access to your hop-up. Now, I will say the Tokyo Mari hop-up did look a lot better than this one. This looks very cheap plastic, but I have seen worse. So, once you got that out of the way, you got your gearbox in here and your battery compartment in the back. Now, you have a button on the bottom of on the back of the buttstock right here. You push in on that, which you can see, and it will slide down just like that. And I'm dropping stuff all over the place. I apologize. You got your battery connector, and your battery slips in the top right there. Really simple to use. It's one of those battery compartments that's just really quick and simple when you're out in the field. You can change batteries on the fly. You don't need to unscrew it or anything. You don't have a lot of room, but you have enough. You can fit a small type. You can fit a nunchuck in there, and it's going to get you through the day. Now, I don't do this with most gun reviews, but I'm actually going to show you how to get down to the gearbox, just because I don't know why. I just love getting down to the gearboxes of P90s. It's kind of fun. So, you will need a screwdriver, and in the back there are two screws near the top of the plate which is holding the gearbox in. There's one on the left, one on the right. Okay, so once you get the back plate off, you basically just lift it straight up and out it'll come. And it's not too bad at all. And once that's out, you can basically just pull the gearbox right out, or let it fall out either way. And that's how you get to the gearbox on a P90. Now, I'm not going to open this thing up for you right now. I'm just showing that's how you get to the gearbox. And it is actually a metal gearbox with the exception of some plastic down here. Now, I don't know if this would have the same issues that the Tokyo Mari P90 did with locking up, but basically what I had to do was lift this guy up right here, which is your safety, I believe. I'm not sure. Not sure what that is. Lift that up and pull the trigger. And when I did that, it would fire, as opposed to just pushing it. Normally, it did nothing. But when I got down to the gearbox, lift that all the way up, push that once, it would fire. So, that is how I would fix my Tokyo Mari P90 in the middle of a freaking firefight. And I'm just going to leave that out right there. And do that. And And look, the gun's completely back together. I know, I'm just kidding. In any case, yeah, I do not have that many complaints about this gun. The weight of it is fantastic. The feel of it is fantastic. As I said, you know, a few parts of it do seem really cheap. Like the hop-up seems a little cheap. I'm not too certain about the plastic down here on the gearbox. I'd probably prefer if that was something else other than clear plastic. One thing that actually does feel kind of cheap to me is the fire selector. It's a little wobbly. I'm not too sure about that. For P90s themselves, the location of the fire selector is really nice. It's right next to where your finger goes on the trigger. I did kind of run into the issue a few times back in the day of actually forgetting where the fire selector was and kind of just fiddling with it while I was sitting there and making sure what spot it was in. I don't think I'd have that trouble now just because, you know, I was an unseasoned player. But yeah, that is the P90 in a nutshell. I would recommend this to anyone who's looking for a great starter gun, and also anyone who's at the point where they just want something new. I think the P90 is a great way to fill out your arsenal. I think it's a great loner gun. I think it's a great CQC gun. I can't think of too many people that I wouldn't recommend this thing to. It's just really well rounded. It's about 190, pretty much wherever you look, and it comes shooting about 360 to 370. This one's chronoing about 363, I believe. Yeah, and they are still on the market, and you can absolutely have one, and they are actually selling one, I believe, which has a barrel extension which goes out to about here and a silencer fitted. That is definitely an option, and it's not too terribly expensive of an option if you want to just do it yourself. I think the package, which includes a barrel extension and the silencer, is about $220. That's just a rough estimate. It does come with a magazine and a charger and a battery, so you'll be good to go right from the start. You'll be set for the field, and like I said, you don't need too much other than this high-cap mag just for a basic skirmish. If you really want to invest in this gun, grab yourself some standards if you don't want to make too much noise, because these things will rattle like crazy. If you want to just be a bullet hose out there, screw it. Grab one or two more of these and you are set. Yes, that is the P90. Thanks for watching, guys. We have a lot more videos coming. A few Dratnanigans, a few more reviews, some airsoft tales. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.